Welcome, everybody. My name is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing, and you are watching another episode of Wingin It. This is your first time here. Every week, I'm joined by a different business owner, and this week I'm really excited, particularly excited. I say that every week, but I'm particularly excited because I get to talk to an old friend of mine, Quinn Kilgrow. Quinn is with Eden Creek Real Estate and all of the other ventures.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about development, but we're also going to be talking about building a business. And so I'm really excited. Quinn, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Honored. Not sure if I deserve it, but but yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I'm excited. Quinn and I have known each other for like 20 years now. We kind of grew up together.
Something like that, yeah.
Ran in the same circles in high school.
That's right, yeah. It's been a long time. That long, huh?
Yeah. We're old now.
Yeah, unfortunately. But no, it's good. Life's good. Looking forward to new opportunities. It's great what you've done here, so this is awesome.
Thank you, yeah. So Quinn, tell people a little bit about you on the business side. You know, how did you get involved in the construction world? What do you guys do? And where, looking to the future, what are you hoping to do?
Okay. Well, so I do real estate development, property management, and that's our bread and butter. And I look at opportunities that I can do affordable housing for people, especially like in today's markets. But how I got started doing that, going to college, I went to college for business school in Salt Lake. So I went to Ensign College for business. And as I was learning from different teachers and other entrepreneurs, like I realized I went to business school to work for a company, but soon realized the people that were in business school were there to build a company, or at least the successful ones built the company. So I quickly realized how business worked and how to be an owner and not a consumer. So then eventually I got into project management, which led me down the path of managing. And then from there, I had an opportunity with some investors I would call mom and dad, who gave me the opportunity to build a spec home with them. So I'm still in college, and I'm building my first house with no experience. Basically, I'd call it my own internship that created the opportunity, and went and found land, got the plans, found the people, and built my first house, and ended up making some money, and my folks made some money. And from there, that turned one home into 3 homes, which was up in Ogden, Utah. And then from there, we started marketing those homes. We did a model home, so we built it. We were able to sit on it and bring people in and kind of show them what we did. Gained a list of clients from there, and then we went from a spec home that we would build ground up and sell to building for clients, and that's where it turned into I got my first multi-million-dollar client and built a home in a private community that was for high-end luxury homes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So now you guys are building full developments, building full customs, things like that, right?
Yes. So and that's fairly new to me. So COVID really set us back. Kind of did for just this industry in general. So I went from having a list of clients to now we're worrying about when the next paycheck's coming, right? So it's okay, I had to pivot. Still did real estate, still did building, but I actually went and learned from other companies that did the same thing but different techniques. But now that grew, learning from them, that grew into opportunities of building developments.
That's awesome.
For not just, for luxury homes, but also I would say they're affordable too. So I was able to learn the numbers and what things cost and the different types of materials and how to keep a home affordable yet making it look like a home you want to live in.
Yeah. And so that, it sounds like that's really your goal, especially here in Utah. I know in a lot of markets here in 2026, the markets are kind of slowing down a little bit, but Utah, Idaho, some of these areas in the Mountain West, we're still very much growing. We have people leaving states and coming here. And so while other places are seeing a slowdown, yeah, you're sitting on the market a little longer, but your home is still selling. We still have spec homes that are being built, still selling, things like that. And so for you, it sounds like affordability is a big emphasis that you're trying to put into that process, right?
Yes. And I mean, I'd say most businesses that have been established, they've been family owned or run, and they've been doing the same process for years. So, and now, there's so much accessibility to talent and product, and it just kind of takes somebody to come in and say, what's your overall goal? And for us, we look at, being real estate agents and contractors, let alone property managers, we can help you say, okay, if your goal is to build an affordable home, perfect. Let's look at your budget. Let's look at where you want to be, and we'll show you what that can look like. And then if you stick within that budget, it'll be fine. So we'll take it in phases. Phase 1 for your engineering or planning, and then 2 for the actual building of the building, and then 3 your finish work. So if you can keep your finish work under control too, then that will help you stay in an affordable home area.
Yeah, I know those finishes really are what kind of make or break the budget a lot of times. And I just recently bought a house, and it's in a townhouse development. And so for us, as we've lived in it, we've been in it almost a year now, we start to see some of those finishes where maybe the builder pulled back a little extra. We've only been in the house 8 months. We have kids. We're not easy necessarily, but some of the corners, the carpets are coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I guess as a consumer, how do you help them balance that of, hey, we want it to be affordable, but unfortunately the law says I have to let my kids live in my house. So how do I make it so that it's going to withstand being lived in a little bit too, but also balance that affordability?
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to get too cheap. Because once you start cutting way down you're almost end up paying more because you got to replace it because it's just too cheap. It's for us, as far as affordability on homes, let's just take that carpet, for example. There are options that you can get, I would say, a builder grade carpet, but what would make it nicer is you upgrade the pad or you put carpet in certain areas and then you do LVP or tile in other areas. You'd mix it up to where it ends up looking better planned and nicer, yet you bought a lower end carpet, but you have a presidential pad or something that's really nice, and when you walk on it, it's like walking on a cloud.
Yeah.
And then obviously labor. I'm sure there's warranties and things. You don't want to skimp out on I would say a good product to get something that's just gonna tear.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to avoid is those cookie cutter homes where a lot of the times they'll build these subdivisions that they're all the same, townhomes that they're all the same, and they try to do the cheapest thing possible. And it may be good for them on margin wise, but it comes back on the consumer or the person buying the home that's like, oh, well, this is just a house to live in, and they make their money and they move on to the next development, and now you're stuck paying the bill. Versus if I had a client that can walk in with the same budget or the same price and put it in a place that they love to live, and then build a home that they love living in. And they're a part of that process, and they ended up getting the best deal. And not only that, if they wanted to sell that in a year or whatever, they'd walk away with money.
Yeah.
Too. So, and for us and our clients, we educate them on how real estate works. So, why is it going to cost this, and what is the home's value at the end of the project? And you're paying this, but it's valued at this. So we're not putting you in a bad spot. You can always, that is now an investment. We just turned a consumer into an owner of their own house that is now an investor.
Yeah.
And how we do that, we have different options for, like, say, we do barn dominiums, so or custom smaller homes, affordable homes for people, and we try not to overbuild for them, but we get them what they need.
That's awesome. So you talked a little bit about COVID and some of the struggles there. I wanted to circle back to that and kind of revisit it, because I know for a lot of people in business, we hit those patches where you're like, do I have to go get a job somewhere? How do I survive this? And obviously you guys have come out on the other side and you've figured it out as well, but like revisit that time and tell me a little bit more about like, what did it require from you? What did you learn through that experience, and how did it kind of help shape and inform what you do now?
Yeah. Going through it, not exactly the fun.
Yeah.
But I would say it was definitely necessary. Because I would say there's feast and famine, right? And that's just real estate. That's the economy, right? Every 10 years, there's cycles. So if you can kind of predict it, it's not going to be as scary.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when COVID happened, it was scary.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, oh crap. Like I out of college, working hard. I think we started in 2017, and then for 3 years, it felt like, man, I'm on top of the world. I'm killing it. We're doing so much. We have a good product, a good system. We're growing, and then literally, so I'm doing the biggest house I've ever built, and the project, the land was like 350 plus thousand.
Wow. So just for the land itself.
Just the land. It's an acre, new development. The owner who developed it, he built a 30,000 square foot house in this same development. So and we called it Walmart. So we're like, as we're building ours, there's a Walmart going up right next to us. But it was exciting because I'm on this big project in this nice neighborhood, wealthy. I'm trying to network with all these other contractors and people, and then and we're building like spring of like 2020, and it's COVID's like active, but you're like, okay, it's fine. We'll just keep going, and then all of a sudden, lumber like quadruples.
Yeah.
And we just finished a foundation, and we have a lumber package that we're getting delivered, and trusses that we're going to get made. And now the truss company is like, hey, we're like 4 months out now. And you're like,
because of the supply chain issues.
And it's like, what do you mean 4 months? I need it like next week.
Yeah.
And we had this order for a while. And then not only that, in your lumber package, it was, what was it? It was like maybe $20,000, and it ended up being now $100,000. So you're like, oh crap!
There go all my margins just in this lumber.
And there are things to protect you if you contract wise. We don't have a crystal ball. To predict when things go wrong, but this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because now we're at a point where we can't do this for free, and they're expecting a product. And how do I explain this to a client about the economy's going down the drain.
Yeah.
And at first they're like, you're screwing us. Like,
Mhm.
you just want more money. And you really have to be patient and almost say, I could see how that's an issue. I could see where you're coming from, but trust me, like this is not normal. I'll be as transparent as possible. I'll show you what it is, but there's something happening that is just out of our control, and this has to be our course of action. And if we're going to move forward, either we stop and we're done, or we look at our numbers and reprice what we need in order to get it done. And if we had to, we'll look into our budget for finish work and pull where we can from there, in order just to get this structure built for you.
Yeah.
And they ended up being eventually understanding. Like, they looked into it themselves and like, oh, this is not normal. So, but they increased their budget, and they ended up paying the difference for it. Project moved forward, but it ended up being very slow.
Yeah.
Windows couldn't get, trusses couldn't get, and so we actually had to get creative. So we were like, instead of doing doors, we're gonna build a custom door.
Okay.
And we're gonna, instead of some of these windows, we'll look at that. And luckily, windows were an issue. I think we had them ordered at a decent time, so we got them in. But we had to get really creative in other ways to speed up the process in order to still get done on time, in scope, and in budget.
Yeah.
to get it completed.
Yeah. I mean, and so, tell me a little bit about like your mindset. This is a question I love because I love hearing the stories of people that get through difficulties. I think that's just a universal human thing. But I also love to hear, like, what did that require from you as a person? Like you're going through this, you're 2 or 3 years in, still really learning this process, have a few homes under you, but still very much like, all right, I'm figuring this out probably, right? Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden it demands this new thing from you, this new skill, this empathy to say, look, we just have to renegotiate this. This just isn't an option for us. Like, what does that require from you, and how do you implement that now in your business?
Yeah. At the time, I mean, even looking back, it's like almost like PTSD, because you look at it and you're like, oh crap, either like we messed up, or how did this happen, or how did we not account for this, right? And it really is devastating too at the time, because you're like, oh man, like we got to perform. If we don't, like, where does that lead? Is it a court battle? How much money is that? Is it, and in every project, I'm always very paperwork oriented. I try to get everything in writing. And so if it ever came to a court case, like, I think of it, I start as if we're going to court from day one.
Yeah.
And the person with the most paperwork usually wins.
Yep.
So I try to line it out. Paper trail, everything's transparent. I don't want to hide anything, and honesty really makes a difference. I mean, one, it's ethics, but two, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry.
Yeah.
So, but that moment, it was, I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is like, if every job or every big job or difficult client, like, is going to be like this, like, maybe I go work for somebody. Maybe they let them deal with the headache, let them figure it out, and I'll show up, check in, check out, and go home and play video games, right? So it was pretty rough for me for a while, because we went from so much to almost nothing.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I felt defeated. Mm-hmm. And then life too coming at me. And I think what made the difference was why let the world or people or things I can't control my thought process,
Yeah.
or the way I motivate myself, or the way I the way I react. And so what I started doing was, I need to get the best advice from the best minds and not rely on my own mindset or my own strength, but learn from those that have been there, done that, and and use that to move forward. And so I read, I watched even movies like about leadership and hard times, and I just, the most powerful men or people that I wanted to figure out, what did they do and how do I become like them?
Yeah.
And eventually I changed my mindset to not focus on what I can't control, but how do I prevent or focus on where I want to go?
Yeah.
And also what do I want? Like, out of all of this, things are going to happen. What do I want? And once I focused on that, knowing what I want, I think I had an easy direction to get there.
Yeah.
Because then I'm self-motivated to, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to get what I want.
Yep.
I'm going to go that direction, and I've mentally prepared no matter what comes at me. It's not going to change my direction. Is it going to hurt? Is it going to suck? Sure. Let it.
Yeah.
Let it happen. It's because I look back at those hard times and it's only made me stronger. Because now, whatever else is coming up, it's like, I've already been through this. I can easily go through that.
Yeah. And one thing I always go back to, ironically, is Alice in Wonderland, when she meets the caterpillar and she's like, hey, I'm lost. Which way do I go? And he's like, well, where do you want to go? She said, I don't know. He said, well, then it doesn't matter which way you go. Mm-hmm. I always go back to that in my life, where you look at it and you're like, if I don't have that direction, if I don't even know where the target is, I can't point the gun, right? Mm-hmm. I have to know, where am I going? What am I trying to do? And then, like you said, it all comes down to that like internal engine, because then you can just pour fuel on that. You say, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is the direction we're heading. Mm-hmm. And come what may, but I'm going to freaking get it. Like,
yeah,
it's so much easier to have that than, oh, I'm just in real estate, or I'm just building, I'm heading this way. But now, you took that fuel, you said, this is where I'm going with it. And now you're actually building a business, right? Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about that. I know that your goal really is to have a self-sustaining business, right? Mm-hmm. Something that doesn't rely on Quinn for the day-to-day. Things happen, things are accomplished because you built this system and it's self-sustaining. So how do we get from, all right, I'm going to give up, and 4, 5, 6 years ago, to now, here we are, and I'm going to build a business. I am building a business that doesn't really rely on me for the day-to-day. What does that look like? How are you building that? What tips do you have to get to that point?
Yeah. Well, my internal quote to myself is, if you're gonna be rich, find a way to make money in your sleep. Mm-hmm. And that was like, ooh, okay. How do I make money without me being there? Yeah. Let alone if you want to start a business, anybody can start a business. You can go out today and start a business, right? You buy vending machines, which I've done, and you could put them in places, and then you can go, make money off of that, and you'll bring an income, right? Now, do you want to start a business where you created a job for yourself because you don't want to work for somebody because you just don't like how they do things? Or do you want to become an owner? And for me, I realized even working for myself or whatever, it was nice being in control and having a direction or, to go. But what I wanted is I need to be an owner.
Yeah.
I need to be able to delegate, and I need to be able to have the best minds that know more than I do around me, that I can get the best advice, and they can tell me, hey, based on my experience, we should be doing this. I say, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Get it done. Because, and I mean, really, I want to be put in a leadership role, and that's where I've come to learning more finances and things. But I want to guide the people that want to create their own business or want to be involved in their own business or self-motivated to go after and go get it.
Yeah.
So for like example, in real estate, you have brokers and then you have agents, and agents have assistants, or, I love the mindset of a real estate agent, but real estate agents get bad raps.
Yeah.
The reason why I got my license was because I didn't want to be a typical real estate agent. If anything, I didn't want to deal with them, so I got my own license. But I wanted to be an agent that educated clients, that created owners, that created investors, that everything you own, buy, sell is an investment. So on my team, I wanted to treat my team like, you're not employees, you're owners. You own your work. You own part of this company. You're building your career. And I want you to succeed with your talents instead of conforming you to mine.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people that are like me.
Mm-hmm.
I want people that think different, that can put me in my place, and I can learn from them. I think what I've said to project managers, and even myself as a project manager, said, it's not your job to know everything. Does it help? Sure. But it's your job to get the right people for the right job.
Yeah.
It's your job to find the talent
Mm-hmm.
that, and you'll know it because they'll educate you, and you'll know the liars because they'll know nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And good project managers listen to the best voices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's helped me, is knowing or telling myself, I don't know everything. I need to find the people that know more than me and that can go the same direction I'm headed.
Yeah. I always tell my business partner, and this is kind of a half joke, I say, eventually you and I need to be the dumbest people in the room.
Yes.
Because what that means is we have people that are so freaking good at what they do, they've outpaced us.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a system in place that they are autonomous. They are owning what they do. Yep. Because we can no longer own what they do.
Yep.
And so that's how I like to view it, is I want to hire people that are smarter than me and that can do things that I can't do. Because like you said, what do I need another me for? I'm sick of me already. I don't need another one.
I think you're pretty great.
My wife does too, but you might be in small company there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is really important that you hire the right people, that you find them. I want to talk about like that process. Maybe somebody's watching and they're in a smaller construction company. Maybe they have like a couple of W-2 people, but they're looking at really building that system. So they have their crew of guys and they want to build the back office a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For me, what helped is I did a time audit, and I for 2 weeks, I tracked every half hour. How did I spend that half hour? And I classified it. I said, okay, this is where I'm doing client fulfillment. This is where I'm doing admin. This is where I'm doing sales. This is where I'm doing just other random stuff that pops up for my business, right? And so I classified it. And then I said, well, man, I'm spending 60% of my time just running client ads. If I can hire somebody to do that, there's 60% of my time back. I hired somebody, and the next month I made an extra $4,000 because I could go out and find people to sell to, right?
Yeah.
And so for you, as you're starting to look at like building your team, buying back your time, like Diane Martell talks about, what does that look like for you in the construction field?
It's, I would even say for not just construction, but business in general. Like, I think I learned very quickly, like, I can do it all. And because I can do it all, I can only do so much in so much time. And that's not the goal, right? The goal is productivity. The goal is outpacing the competition or being, good quality. But it's got to be, what's the point of good quality if it takes, a job that should be a day, 4 months?
Yeah.
Right. So, I learned very fast to go from what I would call a one man in a van that can do it all to finding the right talent and putting them there to succeed, setting my team up for success, let alone in the hiring process. That's challenging, I would say, because especially for me, I would say I'm kind.
Yeah.
I see the good in people, and people would probably agree, and that ends up being my downfall. So I've learned from myself what are my weaknesses, and find someone close that I can say, hey, these are my weaknesses. When we're hiring people and you're here, like, don't let me fall into this trap.
Yeah.
And so what are my weaknesses? And then same with the business. What is the business's weaknesses? When we're hiring, do I want somebody that can do it all? Yes. Do I want someone specific and give them a specific task and make it simple and say, hey, your job today, or your job is sales. And you ask them, because it's sales, what motivates you? And if they say anything else other than money, they're not a salesman.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And it kind of gets that simple, where if you kind of overcomplicate it, if you get too much information, they'll just end up trying to give you, what do you want? And I'll mold myself to be that. And then you end up spending so much time and money conforming them, right, to fit that, because maybe you see the good in them and they have the potential of being something one day. But in a business, that could be very costly.
Yeah.
And that could really be damaging to your company, because now for me in that position, I'm worrying about, okay, we have this new person, they're learning. How much time do I have to spend with them to get them where I want them to be?
Yeah.
And how much effort am I going to push them to get them where I want them to go without becoming the bad guy?
Yeah.
And how do I find that dichotomy of leadership of being, I could be too aggressive, or I could be too lenient or too much of a friend. And unfortunately, if you're the owner or a boss or in a leadership role, you can't be a friend.
Yeah.
But you also can't be a dictator, because they won't follow. Either one of those, they'll end up not following and doing their own thing. So hiring, I would say, hire people, specific titles, specific jobs, and it's black and white.
Yeah.
You do this, and this is the result we're looking for. And if you can't do it, this is the result we're going to give you.
Yeah.
Right? Or this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if it's friend or not, and if the expectations aren't clear, then the results won't be clear either.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying, and I'm going to push back on it a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think there's that line, right, of you don't want to just hire like anybody off the street. You want to put a fish in water, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to make them climb a tree, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, what I've found is we're hiring more for the person than we are for the skill set.
Yes.
Because there's also that to keep in mind too, is this going to be a good cultural fit?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that person fits into our culture, I'm way more likely to say you have a job and I'm going to find out what it is, versus they have a great skill set, but I don't want to spend any time around this person, or they just don't fit the culture of our business.
100%.
So there's that funny balance you have to do of this person comes in with these skills and this natural propensity and these abilities, but are they also going to fit our culture? And then here's this other person that maybe they're completely unskilled or maybe have just this smaller skill.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it to invest in them because they fit our culture? They're exactly what we're looking to do in 5 years. And can I afford to invest the next 2, 3, 6 months into this person to get them to that spot? And so it, like you said, you know, heavy is the head for us business owners. We have to decide, where are we at right now? Should we just plug this person in and maybe they're not the best cultural fit? Or do we invest the time in this younger person too and, you know, build the skill set and look to the future? And for me, I think my answer is almost always, I'm building a 10, 20, 30-year business right now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking long term. And so I'm going to plug that person in that is going to be a good cultural fit, because that other person, you know, for them it probably is just a job. For the other person, it's there's that loyalty a lot of times. And for me, I'd rather hire that. Yes.
And I actually agree with that. I think in the workplace atmosphere, you can have a group of 5 positive thinkers or glass half full people, and you have that one negative thinker. Mm-hmm. And that one negative thinker will drain your positive thinkers. And I can't remember the exact statistics of it, but I think it was, you have one person who's always negative. It cuts the proficiency or work ethics of those 5 in like half. Yeah. Because of someone's thought process bringing everybody down. Mm-hmm. And I do look at that too, is why be negative? If anything, I look for more, how can we help each other? Yeah. And maybe there's people that are having rough days and things, and it's like we got to make sure that these are still people. Like, we're still human. You know, we make mistakes.
You're not hiring robots.
I'm not hiring, a perfect person or a robot yet. Maybe soon. But right now it's like they have lives. I mean, they got to go to the dentist, you know, take care of themselves. And I told my my first hires, like, you know, in office, like, if you have family issues or personal things, like, I'd rather you take care of them, get it done, and that way you're not worrying. So when you come back to work, it's like you feel good and you're not worrying about it you know, throughout the day. Yeah. You know, and so I do think, you know, being positive and self-motivated or how I can help my employees like that, you know, I know that tends to go a long way. Mm-hmm. So I try to help where I can and be kind as where I can and even give. Like, I feel like the more I give, the more just comes back, and that seems to be very true, right? You know, especially now, like, and so I've adopted that into, I would say, our work culture.
Yeah. And I think that that's important too. You know, I tell our people, just be an adult. Like, you know, mm-hmm. if you need some time off, like, be an adult and just tell me.
Yeah. Right.
I just expect, like, I expect you to run your life, and I expect not to have to run you, mm-hmm. because quite frankly, I don't have the mental resources to run your life. And I think that's gone a long way because I treat them as adult people and say, look, like, you know, if you need time off, if this is other things going on, like whatever that is, keep me informed. You don't have to tell me everything, but just let me know and we'll work with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that that's earned a great deal of respect because it is respecting them as a person. It's respecting that autonomy, but also saying, look, like I'm still your boss. I still have to make business decisions around your humanness.
Yeah.
You know, I respect the human part of you, and I respect that you have a life that exists outside of what we do. And so just show me the same respect because the business is very much a part of my life too, like it is for all of us.
Right. Especially for business owners. I mean, you sacrifice a lot of time, without asking anything in return.
Yeah.
Because the return is, you know, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, you'll have this baby that you've nursed, and now it's walking and, you know, working on its own, and that ends up being the payoff, and then hopefully providing jobs for families and a work atmosphere that people love to be in, and you've changed their lives because you've given these opportunities, and that motivates me too, you know. So, or giving my clients the thing that they thought was impossible, and you come in here and say, hey, look at all these solutions.
Yeah,
we can do this for you. And they're like, oh my gosh, you know, no one's ever cared enough about us to figure it out or make it work. And I love that. I love those moments where we're taking something that is impossible for either a new hire or a new client and giving them this opportunity that that we can work on together to get you your goals. And I see that for my clients. Let's get your goals right. And then for my people that work with me and for me, I say, hey, what are your goals? And how can I help you get there? Because we're probably going the same direction.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do to make that work.
Yeah.
So
that's great advice. You know, if you know the person, it's so much easier to say, hey, like, you know, we want to support you along the path to X thing, you know, whatever that thing is, and how do we go there together? And I think that comes a lot easier when it comes to, you know, giving criticism, even saying, hey, look, like, you know, I want to help you do this. And so because I want that for you, here's something I'm seeing that's kind of stopping you from getting there. Or, man, you really messed this up. It's, you know, we're trying to get you to this kind of a thing. Yeah.
It's kind of, well, and I'm going to probably share more of it. Now, like, that's the beautiful side of it. Now, here's like the sad side of it is I had a new hire recently, and I saw so much potential in them, and they really were great. They were going to be great. I probably gave, if anything, too much, like to make them successful or try to help them as best I can. And the hardest lesson, one of the harder lessons that I've learned was you can give them or show them the way, the map. You can lead them to water, or, you know, but you can't force them.
Yeah.
And usually the more you kind of force them, like if you just here, this will help you. And trust me, just, you know, you're thirsty, drink this water. And they're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that I think was one of the harder things or harder lessons to learn is like, man, I'm giving you this opportunity, but why won't you take it?
Yeah.
And how can I help you get there? Or what I even look in, like, what am I doing wrong? Or how can I be better to get you to your personal goals, and let alone our work or coworkers' goals too? And you can't force people.
Yep.
You know, even if you got the answers, it's like at the end of the day, they'll make their choices and they'll go their own way or make their own route. And I just have to be happy for them. And even if it ends great, good. If it ended poorly, great. I almost look at some of the people I work with, and I always treat them as friends. I start out like not knowing the person. I'm like, yep, you're my friend now. and I just see the good. And I guess, people have different perspectives. So it's not always going to work out. And I think that was a hard lesson where you've put so much time, energy, and vision into that. What's the next 5 years look like for us as a team? And then, then they end up quitting like the next day. And you're like, whoa, what just happened? Mm-hmm. What did I do? Like, how did it get to this point? And you kind of have to sit back and realize, it's just business.
Yeah.
It's just life. It's okay. Remember, control what you can control, and they are their own person. And you're like, for us, we're in the business to the end.
Yeah.
Until there's no life left breathing.
We're married to the game, baby.
We're all in, and they aren't. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. That is okay. And but anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this has been really fun, Quinn. I've really enjoyed the conversation. I wanted to ask you one last question here, which is just about the best piece of business advice that you've ever been given. And, what was it? How did you implement it? And what did it do for you when you did?
Good question.
Thanks. I came with it all by myself.
Wow.
Mom didn't help me this time.
Impressive.
I know.
Best piece of business advice. I would say find something that you love getting up every morning and doing. Something that it's to the point where it becomes your world, and it motivates you to make what you did yesterday, continue to make it better the next day. And but also I would say it's okay to fail. Mm-hmm. Because your failures don't define you, right? It's the decision you do after, right? It's the choice to get up and keep going that makes you great or makes miracles happen. And if you keep going and you keep networking and you keep trying, you will get there. It will happen, because you know what you want, you're getting after it, you're going for it, and nothing's going to stop you. The only thing that can stop you is yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I resonate with that a lot. I think that there's a lot of times that, you, like you talked about, you're wondering, is this going to work out? Should I quit? Should I do that? And ultimately it just comes down to like looking at yourself. And I tell myself this a lot. I stole it from Ed Milet, who's a motivational speaker, but I look at myself and I say, I am built for this. Mm-hmm. I look in the mirror and I tell myself that, and I try to mean it as much as I can, because when those things are hard, I look at it through the religious lens, because that's my upbringing. But I say, look, like, God is putting this obstacle in my path. God created me, so he's made it so that I can do this. Mm-hmm. And you can look at it there, or you can go less spiritual on it. But what it comes down to is you have to say, every cell in my body was designed to overcome this hurdle in front of me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Yeah. That's okay. But there are forces beyond who I am and what I am that have brought me here. Forces beyond who I am and what I am that have put this obstacle in my path. And so those things are in line, and I am now going to overcome it. Yeah. And I think that there's so much power in being able to do that as a business owner. Yeah. Because it sucks sometimes. Those obstacles that are in front of you, you stress, you lose sleep, it affects your family life, it affects all those aspects, and you get to carry that burden.
Mm-hmm.
Your family doesn't all understand all of it. Your employees don't understand all of it.
Yeah. And I mean, even for me, I think it's hard running a business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. There's a lot of pressure. And, I mean, it's pressure on you to know when's the next paycheck coming, because I pay myself last.
Yeah.
Everything gets paid first. And I need to make sure my team has got food on their table and make sure that they are covered before I can even take anything. And it's it gets to the point, though, where for me it became numb.
Yeah.
I stopped worrying. Worry's good. It keeps you in check, right? It keeps you real.
Yeah.
That anything can happen. But fear and too much worry keeps you paralyzed.
Yep.
And you can't be paralyzed if you're going places, right? You have to put out the negative. You have to put out the fear. You have to check your mindset. If your mindset is constantly worrying, you're constantly going to be in this limbo of you're not going anywhere.
Yep.
And once you change that mindset and constantly focus on either the good that's happening or the motivation, what is your motivation that keeps you going forward?
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep that there, I mean, you'll win every time.
Yeah.
It's what we put in here, in your mind that's produced.
Yep.
Is the outcome.
Yeah.
So if you fill your mind with the best knowledge, the best books, the best people around you, you'll end up getting the best results.
Absolutely. Well, and that's really the goal of this podcast. I want to surround myself with good people that know what they're doing and hopefully provide that to the people watching. And I think we did that today, Quinn, so thanks so much.
Good.
I
hope so.
No, I appreciate your time, man. We'll wrap it up there because I think that's a great way to end it. Just thinking about what are you putting in your mind, where are you going, and are those things in line?
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of Wingin It, and we will see you again next week. We'll be here with another business owner. Until then, hopefully you've learned how to wing it just a little bit less.